A former New Age goddess. What does that mean? Well, a woman who believed that she was a New Age being, a person sent to Earth to raise the vibration, and like so many, trying to make it a career, as you might imagine, seeking spiritual truth, but basically being a spaced out loon, in effect, and then realising she was a loon. I'm talking about a woman called Jessica. Now, I don't need to mention too much about her, of a personal nature. That's not the goal of this video. But what I will say is, she clearly had some issues. And that's why people very often run into spirituality. They run deeply into a belief that seems to offer truth, seems to offer proof, and actually seems to play heavily on faith. But it's definitely not faith, or it's not religion. No, it's spirituality. And the New Age spiritual brand. So she went from being a New Age goddess to one who began to wake up. And she got herself a particular boyfriend, not me, someone else, and he was a skeptic, and is a skeptic. And that changed her view for a time. She realised what I've been following is about, feeling good, it's about magical, wishful thoughts, and I should be more skeptical. And I'll even do a talk at a skeptic event, an event for people of an atheistic, skeptical nature. And I think I can bring this together. I can even produce a documentary, and we've got a little organisation going, and with that organisation existing as a loosely knit community, not a cult, but a community of skeptics, where it's about raising awareness and potentially producing documentaries to raise awareness about the psychological nature of spiritual beliefs. And from there, eventually, after going through some rough times and some issues and some problems with her then boyfriend, this person who was a person who helped her into skepticism, because you see the extreme spirituality and you realise how extreme it can be and how, wishful it is. Now, what must it be like for a turning New Age goddess, in effect? A person who has gone, I was sent here for a reason, but then I went off the rails, or on the rails, I suppose, from my perspective, but off the rails as far as her perspective. What happened? Why did it happen? Where am I now? And that was basically her point. She's made in a number of videos and elsewhere. Well, she claims it was all part of the learning process, because isn't that the way? A New Ager could become a Mormon and then go back to New Age, or become an atheist, come back to New Age, become a hardcore Christian, and go, actually I think I'll become a crystal collector in New Age again. And they say it was all part of the journey. I had things I had to learn, and I ignored my spirit guides, and I didn't listen, and I was in an abusive relationship in New Age, and then I fell in love with someone else, and then that turned into a bad relationship, and now I'm back. And it's all because it was a number of lessons I needed to learn. But isn't that just a bunch of excuses? You needed to learn these things. So, did you become a more skeptical Mother Goddess? Or New Age contactee, or medium of sorts? A channeler? Did you become a more developed, a more adult individual? Or are you simply still that New Age girl, but with a few more miles on the clock? Well, that is the question. When you look at what she talks about now, about anti-lockdown things, denial of COVID, denial of science, denial of so many things, you see that the maturity is not there. The skepticism certainly is not there. The denial of reality is very large, and making excuses for why you've changed your view over the years and then going all out, hardcore, to the extreme, because you've read stuff on articles and you've watched a YouTube video where they spoke about COVID. Well done for you. And now you think you know more than people who are actually experts in the field. How humble of you. It's just simply ridiculous when you think about it. It says a lot about the individual involved. And of course there is the idea of a New Age intervention. Intervention of what? Individuals from higher planes and vibrations, spatially and dimensionally, coming to take away the bad people who ran the planet. Like Biden was involved, maybe, and all these other people, or the Clintons, all those, and supposedly some angels and ascended masters and, high vibrational aliens like the Palladians are going to get involved and they're going to do their thing. Really? Prove it. What if nothing happens? Is it another 2012 event? Nothing's happened. Nothing's changed. Nothing's got better or necessarily worse. But I think they're going to come next year. Or maybe they'll come in 2030 or 2036 or whenever a particular asteroid is coming by, or there's another event, perhaps another virus in, 2050 or something. Basically that will be the time when it happens, or when it won't, for that matter, when it comes around. And once again, the predictions by certain spiritual, psychotics, basically, people who are so out of touch with reality they don't seem to care, they fail once again. So, New Age intervention? Not so much. And of course the idea is, as with any New Age, they don't like the term, but I use it anyway, not because I'm just being bitter, because I'm not being bitter, but because they claim that New Age is not an applicable term, but you believe that you're going to get through a bunch of really unpleasant crap, perhaps. The bad things are going to be turned away. And humanity is going to awaken into a new age of spirituality, wisdom, love and joy, love and light. And that is going to be the future. That is a new age. It's not the age of Aquarius as such, but it may as well be. The same sort of philosophy, the same sort of ideas that have been failing ever since the fall of hippie culture, really, but certainly since the development of New Age into a marketable force in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and it's been continuing ever since, but it never seems to quite get there because it is pie in the sky thinking. So what more can I tell you about this particular girl other than she is a confused gal. She's very confused, very much out there. She hasn't dealt with her own problems, and because of some of the people around her, some of the friends she used to have, she has crawled back into the skin of her spiritual past. She left many of those people behind because they didn't want to, accept that she was a skeptic anymore. And then she went from being a skeptic to being a New Ager once again, and she's managed to crawl back in with a number of them, and that includes, I believe, some family members and close friends. But in any case, I don't know the full details, but it is a question of confusion that she's going through, and that certainly shows itself considering how deep and far she has gone into the conspiracy theory world and not simply spiritual New Age practices.